This is David again at DNS Photography Studios, and I just want to, I'm starting something new where I don't always have the time to type and blog and stuff, so I'm going to start making a video log or a vlog, and basically, I'm going to be recording things, be talking about gear, be talking about photography in general. I'm going to try to do video of some of my photo shoots. I have one with a model coming up in a couple of weeks here. And I'm going to try to get a better video camera, just for better quality, better sound quality and all that stuff. And we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to be doing this video log, and you guys can send in questions. My blog is dnsphotog.blogspot.com. My website is dnsphoto.biz, and I'll be putting that up, on the screen so you guys can see that. But basically, today what I want to talk about is the gear that I use. I don't really have $2,000 lenses and $2,500 and $6,000 bodies. But what I do have, I'm really content with. I want to upgrade in the future when I'm ready to throw down that type of money. But right now I just want to show you what I use, and it's not always about the equipment, really. It's about you. It's about your creativity, and you could have just the most basic camera and just be uber creative and make beautiful images. I've seen it. I wish I could do that, but I do need help from my equipment. But what I've heard is what's really important is lenses. The glass quality on your lenses can make a huge difference in your photos. So I'm in the process of hopefully getting new lenses. But like I said, about what I do have, I'm really happy with. It's done an excellent job. So what I want to show you basically is what I carry in my camera bag usually, or just what I have here in my studio. And I have two camera bodies. They're kind of in the mid-range. They're both Nikon D200s. So they're not, the lower end, and they're not really the higher end. They're kind of in the middle. They're the ones that link them all. So they're great cameras, awesome cameras. And I use them for everything. I use them for portrait sessions. I use them for weddings. I use them for, when I shoot models and all that. So they've done their job, and I'm very, very happy with them. And I have two because I want to have, you usually want to have a backup camera just in case something happens to your main camera. But this is my backup Nikon D200. This was actually the first one that I got, and it was working great. And one day, the memory card reader inside, I guess it jammed the memory card or something, so it stopped working. So I had to go get it fixed, and they replaced the memory card reader inside. But once you get replacement or you get a repair, it's just never quite the same. And so the shutter is just kind of, I don't know, it still works fine. It's just, I don't know, something about it. But it's a great camera. I've used it for weddings and everything, and it's been awesome. And so this one's just my backup now. I don't use it as much. But what I'll do sometimes is I'll have one lens on my main camera. I'll have a different lens on my backup camera, and I'll have both of them on me. Just to be able to switch back and forth. One might be a zoom lens, one might be a wide angle lens or something, I don't know. But this is my main camera. It's another Nikon D200. I don't have the strap on this one because I use one of those black rapid straps that you can that you screw onto the bottom here. Awesome strap also. Really comfortable compared to the standard ones. But this is my main body. And both of my bodies have the grip on them that you can actually remove. I prefer to always have the grip on the camera. I never ever take them off, really. It's more convenient for me to always have two batteries in there. And I have, I believe, about 8 batteries in between the two cameras. So, it's just more convenient for me, especially for weddings and stuff. And I always have that. Always have memory cards in here, different sizes, 16, 8, 4 gigs. I used to have a 32, and it went out on me. But it's always better to not put all your photos on one memory card just in case it gets corrupted, like that one did. So they all have grips on them. awesome cameras. I would recommend them to anybody. I only shoot Nikon. I don't shoot Canon, and nothing against Canon. I just learned on a Nikon. My first DSLR was a Nikon D60, and it was great, but I wanted to upgrade, so I sold it and bought my D200. Only shoot in manual and raw and all that stuff. But if you shoot in aperture priority mode, shutter priority mode, it's great. It's better, I think to shoot in manual, but if you're not there yet, that's all right. Another thing is they do great. I do mostly, when I do on location, I mostly do natural light shooting. I try to do as much natural light as possible without having to use a flash. In my studio, I of course only use studio strobes. But yeah, awesome cameras. I recommend them to anybody. They've just done an excellent job. I want to upgrade to maybe a D300S, D700. They have that great ISO where it just goes all the way up to God knows where, 125,000 or something. But yeah, great cameras. I use here in my studio CyberSync systems for Paul C. Buff. A lot of people use Pocket Wizards. I use Paul C. Buff. They work great for me. I don't need anything else. My studio is pretty small, so I don't have large distances that I need to transmit from, and they just work absolutely fine. This is the transmitter here. The receiver is on my main 400 watt strobe, and then all the other ones have the slave mode, so they go off once my main light goes off. So this is it. This lens actually that I have on the camera, I was using today, and it's by a company called Rokinon. I had actually never heard of them, but I had another piece of equipment that I wanted to sell or trade. And so I put it on Craigslist, and some guy told me that he would trade me this lens for that piece of equipment. So I went online and I researched it, and actually saw really good reviews, that it was sharp, that it had great bokeh. And so, I went for it. I got the lens. The only thing about it is that it's fully manual. So manual aperture, whether the camera has a motor or not, it's all manual. Manual focus, and it's great. It is really sharp, and it's if you're okay with manual focus, I'd recommend it. I think it's $250. 85 millimeter f1.4 lens, so it opens up pretty wide. I don't know if you can see that, but it opens up pretty wide, and it does an awesome job. I'll put up some pictures that I've actually taken with it. I took some pictures for a friend of mine who does makeup, and they turned out great, I think. So it worked fine. Another lens that I use is what they call a Nifty 50. It's a 50 millimeter f1.8 lens, and I use this for almost everything. It's just a standard lens. It's awesome, and it was like $100. I bought it brand new from Adorama.com, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's just great if you're just starting out, whether it's Nikon or Canon or whoever else it is. If they have a 50 millimeter 1.8, I would recommend this lens for anybody. It's a great starter lens. You can just put it in your camera, go anywhere, and it's just ready to go. It's really compact, so it goes in my bag really well. And I'll usually have, maybe I'll have this one on one camera and the 85 on another or something, but it's awesome lens. It's a 50f 1.8, and it does the job. It really does. Pretty good build. It's kind of plasticky, but pretty good build. The other lens I have that I don't use all that often, probably one of my least used lenses, is the KIT 1855 Nikon 3.5 to 5.6. It does have vibration reduction, which my other lenses don't, but I don't use it all that much. If I do use it, it's just to get that wide angle perspective. And it's autofocus also on my camera, and it works fine. but I don't really use it unless like I said, I have to use a wide angle. 'Cause it's kind of slow, you can't use it in low light, and just, it's a kit lens, but it did its job for what it's worth. I have a Koken filter system on the front of this, which I used to also put on my 50. I can put my neutral densities, my graduated filters, my polarizing filters. I can put them all on here. Once I go out and if I want to do some landscape work or something, then I'll do that. My other lens that I don't use all that often anymore either is this 70 to 300 f4 to 5.6. It's the non-VR version, but it has that zoom to 300 millimeters. So if you want to shoot the moon or something, that'll do. But it's actually really sharp. I think it's a special edition, the silver, the gray edition or something. But I used to use it all the time before I got the 85, and I've done photo shoots with it, and it just, the images came out sharp. They were just fine. I have no problem with it. I just don't use it as much anymore. But it's a good lens, to start off with. Also, if you're on a low budget and you need something to zoom, this, or if you want to go with just the full 18 to 200, something like that. But really, I do recommend the 50 1.8. The last piece of equipment here is a Nikon Speedlight SB600 flash. This is a smaller version. There's an SB900 or even an SB800. I used to have two of them. I only have one now, but I don't use it all that often. I don't use it as much as I used to. When I first started, I was really about the speed lights. I had a couple of them, and I would use them, and I just don't use them as much anymore. Like I said, when I'm on location, I try to do as much natural light as possible. In the studio, I use my strobe, so I don't use it as much, maybe for weddings. And I haven't used the 900 yet. I want to just, because it does help, and weddings are usually pretty dark. And so yeah, that's basically what I use. My main camera, my backup camera, and I'll usually have those with me. Everything that I have works great. It's kind of low budget photography, but it works. It works for me, and I'm very happy with what I have. Next week, I'll hopefully be purchasing a 24mm 2.8 lens. I've heard great things about it, and when I shoot models and all that, it should be fine for portraits. Gives me a bit of a wider angle perspective. These D200s have a crop sensor at a 1.5 times magnification. So I don't actually get 85 or 50. It's more than that. But like I said, it works great. My lights work great. They're Cowboy Studio, so they're also low budget. But I have a pretty small studio, so I don't need anything huge. I have reflectors and all that. But everything works great. I'm happy with my gear. I am hoping though to upgrade maybe to a newer body. The D300S has so many more features, and it's awesome. Maybe something with video too. But that's basically what I use. And if you guys have any questions about equipment, if you're thinking about buying something, a camera body or a lens or something, you can go ahead and ask me.